Rain pelts the windshield. The wipers screech, struggling to keep up. Headlights cut through the dark. Inside the car, silence, broken only by the hum of the engine and the soft breathing of children. What would you do if life kept breaking you again and again, but giving up was not an option? Not because you had hope left, but because three little hearts depended on you to keep breathing. Emily's hands grip the steering wheel, her knuckles white, her eyes heavy from no sleep. In the back seat, two little girls huddle under a thin blanket. In the front, her eldest stares out the window, lips trembling. "Mommy, I'm cold," a tiny voice says. "I know, baby," Emily whispers. "We'll be home soon." She turns the heater up. Nothing happens. The vents blow weak, barely warm air. Outside, the storm rages louder. The road is slick. The tires hiss on the wet asphalt. Street lights flicker past like ghosts. Her heart pounds harder. She blinks hard, trying to stay alert. Not now. Not tonight. Just get them home. Suddenly, a flash of headlights, a blaring horn, a screech of tires. Emily gasps, yanks the wheel. Crash. Metal crushes metal. Glass explodes. Screams. Silence. Darkness. Then, a single breath. This isn't the beginning. This is the moment everything changed. But to understand why it broke her, you have to know what she survived before this. Let me take you back. My name is Emily. I'm 33 years old and I'm a mother of three beautiful daughters, Lily, Sophie, and little Mia. They are my whole world. Without them, I am nothing. I lost my mother when I was still a child, and when Mia was just 5 months old, my husband walked away. He left one morning and never came back. No call, no money, no message, just silence. He disappeared from our lives like we never existed. Since that day, I've been alone. I have no parents, no siblings, no one to lean on, no backup plan, just me and my girls. I don't live in a big house. I don't have a savings account. I don't even own a car. Every month, I rent a tiny apartment that barely fits the four of us. Every month, I pray I'll have enough to pay rent. I pray the power stays on. I pray my daughters never feel how close we are to losing it all. I don't have a college degree, I don't have a stable job, I don't have options, but I have strength and I have love, and somehow, I've learned sometimes that has to be enough. To survive, I drive a taxi, but it's not even mine. I rent the car too. I pay to drive, and then I drive all day, sometimes all night, just to earn enough for food and bills. Every hour I spend on the road is an hour I miss with my daughters. But I don't have a choice. I pick up strangers who often don't look at me, don't speak kindly, and sometimes don't even pay. I smile anyway. I nod. I thank them. Because even a little money is something. I work when I'm sick. I work when I haven't slept. I work with a fever, with back pain, with a heart so heavy it feels like it might collapse. But I don't stop because they need me. My daughters need food, they need shoes, they need warmth, they need their mother to keep going. And every night, when I finally return home, when the world is quiet and the streets are empty, I tiptoe into our tiny room and see them sleeping, huddled together under one blanket, peaceful, soft breaths, tiny hands, innocent faces. I kneel beside them and kiss their foreheads. I whisper, "I love you." I whisper, "I'm trying." I whisper, "One day it'll be better." Because even if life never gave me anything, I will give them everything. It was a cold evening. The sky was dark, the kind of dark that feels heavy. Rain poured without mercy, and the roads had turned to ice. I was driving my daughters home after a long day. Lily sat beside me in the front seat, quiet, staring out at the storm. Sophie and Mia were in the back, wrapped in their school sweaters. "Mama, I'm cold," Mia said softly, her little voice trembling. She was only 5. "I know, sweetheart," I replied. "We'll be home soon." I turned the heater on, but it barely worked. The vents hissed with weak air. My fingers gripped the wheel tighter. My arms were tired. My head was aching, but I kept driving. I had to. There were no cars on the road, just the wind and us. Streetlights flickered dimly as we passed. My eyes blinked slow. I told myself to stay awake. Just get them home just a little longer. Then, out of nowhere, a flash, bright headlights, a loud horn. I couldn't think. I just moved. My hand jerked the wheel. And then, a sound I'll never forget. A crash, metal against metal, glass shattering, my daughters screaming. Then, silence. And darkness. When I opened my eyes, everything felt wrong. I couldn't breathe properly. My body hurt all over. I was staring at a white ceiling. I could hear a beeping sound, steady and sharp. The smell of medicine filled the air. I was in a hospital. I tried to sit up, but pain shot through me. My arms were weak. My head was spinning. Then one thought struck me harder than any injury. My daughters. Where were they? I opened my mouth, but my throat was dry. Still, I forced the words out. "Lily, Sophie, Mia." A nurse appeared beside me. She looked kind, calm. She held my hand gently. "Don't move too much," she said softly. "You were in a bad accident." "My daughters, please. Where are my daughters?" She nodded. Her eyes turned warm. "They're here. They're safe." I couldn't hold it in. Tears rushed down my face. My body ached, but my heart let out a breath it had been holding since the crash. "I want to see them," I whispered. A few minutes later, the door opened, and 3 small figures ran in. "Mama!" they cried. They hugged me, climbed onto the bed, held my hands, kissed my face. I was crying, unable to speak. I pulled them as close as I could. I didn't care about the pain. I just needed to feel them, hear them breathe, know they were alive. Then the doctor walked in. He looked serious. I felt my heart tighten again. "You have a broken leg," he said. "You'll need surgery and time to heal." Time? I didn't have time. I didn't have money. I had to work. I had to pay rent, feed my daughters. How could I afford to be in a hospital bed? "I can't stay here," I said. "I have to work." He looked at me quietly, then said, "You need rest. You've been through a lot." And that's when the real fear hit me. Car. The rental car. It was destroyed. But worse, I had hit another vehicle. A very expensive one. The owner wanted $20,000. 20,000? I had nothing. No savings. No backup. No one to call. I was broken. Body, bank, and spirit. I covered my face and cried. My daughters stood beside me, holding my hands. They cried too. In that moment, I didn't know how to go on. I had no hope, no plan, just pain. But the next day, something unexpected happened. While I lay in that hospital bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering how I would rebuild my life from nothing, a nurse walked in holding a phone. She smiled and said softly, "Your story, it's spreading." At first, I didn't understand, but then she showed me. My picture, lying in bed with my daughters around me. Someone had taken it. Someone had posted it online. My story, our pain, was being shared by strangers. People from all over were reading about us. about a mother who had lost everything and still kept going. They read about the accident, about my daughters, about how I had no car, no money, no one. And something incredible started to happen. Kindness. From places I'd never heard of, from names I'd never seen. People began sending help, a few dollars, then more. Messages of hope, prayers. A woman from another city sent warm jackets for my girls. A man from another country wrote, "You are the strongest mother I've ever seen." And then, one call changed everything. A deep voice on the line said, "I heard your story. I want to help you." I hesitated. My voice was shaky. "Who are you?" "You'll see soon," he said, and the call ended. 2 days later, the hospital room door opened. A group of people entered carrying bags, fresh clothes, blankets, food, toys. My daughters ran to them, their eyes wide with joy. I watched from my bed, stunned, unsure what was happening. Then a young man stepped forward. He had kind eyes. He looked at me like he already knew me. He pulled up a chair, sat beside me, and held out his hand. "You don't know me," he said, "but I know you." I stared at him, confused. "Why would you help me?" He smiled. "Because I can." And that was all. No conditions, no expectations, just kindness. I started crying. I tried to speak, but the words wouldn't come. He gently touched my hand and said, "You don't have to say anything." And over the next few days, he did more than just speak. He and his team paid all my hospital bills, every single one. The surgery, the medicines, the stay, everything. I didn't have to worry anymore. But that wasn't all. One morning they asked me and my daughters to come with them. I was still on crutches, weak, nervous, but they said, "Trust us." We drove to a quiet neighborhood, big trees, bright sunlight, and then we stopped in front of a house. A beautiful, warm house with a garden and curtains in the windows. "This," he said, "is for you." I thought I misheard him. I turned to him, my voice barely a whisper. "For me?" He nodded. "Yes, this is your home now. You don't have to pay rent ever again." I dropped to my knees right there on the lawn. My daughters rushed to me, hugging me, crying with me. I looked at the house, then at the sky, and I couldn't stop crying. "Is this real?" I asked. He smiled. "Yes, this is real." And in that moment, everything changed. A few days after we moved into the house, the young man visited again. This time, he sat with me in the kitchen, while my daughters played in the living room, their laughter echoing through the walls. He looked at me, gently, and asked, "What is your biggest dream?" I wasn't sure how to answer at first. I had never been asked that before. For so many years, I had only survived. I had never allowed myself to dream. But then I looked at my hands, the same hands that had gripped a steering wheel through pain, through tears, through hunger. I looked at my daughters, finally safe, finally smiling, and I said with a trembling voice, "I want to open a supermarket." He raised his eyebrows and smiled. "Then let's make it happen." At first, I thought he was just being kind, but he meant every word. Within weeks, he helped me meet the right people. He brought in a team to teach me how to manage, how to run a business, how to make it grow. He believed in me before I even believed in myself, and slowly, I began to rise. A few months later, I stood in front of my own store, a small but beautiful supermarket, with fresh vegetables, warm bread, shelves filled with items I used to struggle to afford. People came, smiled, called me madam and boss. I hired 2 women who, like me, had once struggled alone. We laughed together. We worked hard. And every day I went home to my daughters, not tired and hopeless, but proud. I was no longer a woman driving strangers around in a rented car with fear in her eyes. I was no longer just a mother fighting to survive. I was a businesswoman, a provider, a symbol of strength. And every time I opened the store in the morning, I remember that cold night, the crash, the hospital, and then the kindness. Because one stranger looked at my story and said, "She deserves a second chance." And he gave it to me. He changed my life. He didn't just give me a house. He gave me back my dignity. He showed me that there are still people in this world who do good for no reason, except that they can. And now I try to do the same. I keep a jar on the counter of my supermarket. A little sign says, "For someone having a hard day." Every month I take what's in that jar, and I find someone like me, a mother, a widow, a worker, and I pass it on. Because I've learned something powerful. Miracles do happen, but sometimes we are the miracles someone else is waiting for. I started with nothing. Now I have a home, a business, a future, and most of all, a happy family. So if you're listening to this and you feel like the world is against you, don't give up. Don't stop. Even when life breaks you down to nothing. Remember, you still have love. You still have strength. And somewhere out there, someone is rooting for you. Thank you for being here with me. Your time. Your heart. It means everything. And if this story touched you, hold on to that feeling. Share it. Pass it on. Because kindness can change everything.